Okay, so this will be my official final prediction for the 2024 election, which takes place in less than a month. As of right now, it is not looking good for the Democratic Party. Even your most staunch left-wing Democrats are starting to panic.
New polls are out, and it doesn't look good for Kamala Harris. I have not been this worried in a long time. So we don't have a lot of time left. We have less than a month left, and she's now losing in almost all the swing states. Look, I'm telling you this, not again to ha-ha or whatever. I'm telling you because the pundits are almost always wrong. They never come back and tell you, oh, yeah, we got it wrong, etc. They don't tell you oftentimes ahead of time. They do Monday morning quarterback. They've, all those different things that they do wrong. The reason I tell you guys stuff ahead of time is so you can see whether I'm right or not. So you can see whether you should trust our analysis of what is reality. Not what we want, but what is reality.
It's actually so bad for Kamala Harris that Barack Obama is surprised that Kamala Harris is polling so low.
We have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences. He's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in...
I gave thousands of hours of my life to make sure that man got elected, and I regret absolutely none of that. So with that being said, he was completely full of shit. First of all, we need to stop putting these vice presidents and former vice presidents on a pedestal. That's how we got into this situation in the first place with Biden. He's like, oh, she had to work so much harder. No, there was zero primary. She had nobody even vote for her. She didn't earn a single vote and is the nominee for president. He then implied that black men don't want to vote for a woman, which is also bullshit because Hillary Clinton won the popular vote in 2016. So what we're going to do now is take a look at the polls and compare them with the last two election cycles at this point in the election when Trump is running. So Trump beat Hillary Clinton in the Electoral College, but lost to Biden. So for Kamala Harris to have a chance, she, at the very least, needs to be polling between where Hillary Clinton was and where Biden was. So let's take a look at Pennsylvania. Right now in the polls, Trump is up 0.3%. At this point in the election, Hillary Clinton was up 9.2 points, but ended up losing the state by 0.7. Biden at this point was up 7.1 and only won the state by 1 point. So Trump is really good at closing the gap and even taking the lead in Pennsylvania at the last minute. He's already polling ahead. I don't see him losing Pennsylvania. Now let's take a look at Michigan. In 2016, at this point in the election, Hillary Clinton was up by 7.3 points. In 2020, Biden was up 6.7 points. Trump is up currently in Michigan by about 1 point. So Hillary Clinton was up at this point in the election by 7 points, and she still lost the state. Biden was up by 7, but he won the state. So I can't really see Michigan going to Kamala Harris. All right, so we're going to take a look at Arizona now. That is a very close race. Right now, Trump is only ahead by 0.5 points. At this point in the election, Biden was up 2.7, and in 2016, Trump was up by 0.7. Trump ended up winning the state in 2016 by 3.5 points. Biden won in 2020 by 0.3. So that one is still too close to call, but Kamala Harris would absolutely need that for any path forward. Now moving on to Wisconsin, which does not do a good job at state polling. Right now, Kamala Harris is up 0.3 points in Wisconsin. At this point in the election, Biden was up by 6. He won the state by less than 1 point. Hillary Clinton in 2016 was up 6.8 points at this point in the election. Trump ended up winning by 0.7 points. In both 2016 and 2020, Wisconsin's polls were off by 6 points. So the fact that Kamala Harris is up by less than 1 is basically a tie. I think that Trump is going to win Wisconsin. That's all he would need to clinch the presidency. All right, moving on to Georgia. Right now, Trump is leading in the polls by 0.5 points. At this point in 2020, he was up 4.7 points. In 2016, he was only up by half a point. In a very rare situation, they actually said Trump was going to do better than he actually did. Biden ended up winning in 2020 by 0.3 points, and the polls were dead on in 2016. Trump won by 5 points. Unless something happens in the polls in 3 weeks, which happened in 2020, this might be the state I get wrong, but I think Kamala Harris is going to win Georgia. All right, so now let's take a look at the polling in Nevada. Right now, Trump is up by 0.2. It's basically a tie. In 2020, Biden was up by 6. In 2016, Hillary Clinton was up by 1. The day of the election, Biden was polling 2.4 points ahead in Nevada, and that's what he got for a final result. The day of the election, Trump was leading in the polls in Nevada by 0.8 points in 2016, but Hillary Clinton ended up winning the state. I think Kamala Harris will win Nevada. And yeah, I know I say Nevada wrong, Nevada, or whatever you guys say. I say Nevada. So let's take a look at North Carolina. Right now, Trump is ahead by 0.5% in the polls. In 2020, Biden was up at this point 2.4%. And at this point in 2016, Hillary Clinton was up by 2.5 points. The day of the election in 2020, Trump was ahead by 0.2, ended up winning the state by 1. At this point in 2016, Hillary Clinton was winning by 2.5 points, but in 3 weeks, Trump was able to catch up and be ahead by 1 point on the day of the election and ended up winning North Carolina by 4. It's not just the battleground states that are making the Democratic Party panic, it's the national poll as well. At this point, in 2020, Biden was ahead by 10 points. Hillary Clinton was up by 6 points. And remember, she still lost because of the Electoral College. So for Kamala Harris to have a shot, she would at least need to be between 6 and 10 points. She's not even ahead by 2. I actually don't even see her winning the popular vote. So here's my electoral map. As you can see, Trump is the clear winner. He could still lose Wisconsin and still win the election. And from there, us Democrats need to regroup. We need to regroup. How is it that we're so bad that Trump beat us twice in 3 elections? Historians are going to look back and wonder that too, because most of the things they say about Trump is true. But somehow we find a worse candidate than him. So for Kamala Harris to have a shot, the polls need to change drastically. And it's like every time she gives an interview, she drops in the polls. So for her to have a chance, the polls need to change drastically. Now I'm going to give like an autopsy for the Democratic Party if and probably when we lose in a few weeks. It goes all the way down to like activists and even voters. Like we need to be able to talk with independents. We joke that independents are just secret Republicans. That means we're losing the independent vote. That means we'll probably never win a presidential election again. And like I'm going to include this in the autopsy, but okay, so I'm a Detroit Lions fan, but I'm 5'9", 180 pounds, and I never even played college football. So the best thing that I can do for my team is to stay out of their way, cheer them on. There's a lot of people in politics that need to take that position as well. Now, I think it's great that the public and especially young people are interested in politics and talking about it, but we need to be able to talk with the other side. We can't just live in an echo chamber issuing political purity tests to one another.